This story in The Guardian, it's a bit close to home, this one, Lewis.
Edinburgh arts venue, this is in The Guardian, Edinburgh arts venue axes Graham Linehan event after complaints. And the Leith Arches, they were putting on a show with some crazy London, I call this place New York. Please bring me home. Comedians who were brought up there.
Yes.
And they didn't include that Graham Linehan, who is basically...
Why are you saying they? You know full well I organised this gig.
I'm going to get to that. I'm trying to figure out how to make it funny.
Well, listen, Lewis,
Yeah.
I will explain myself here because this is very unfair, obviously. We, Comedy Unleashed, which is my comedy night in London, we booked this night at the Leith Arches on the fringe of the fringe, OK, because we're too late to go into the fringe brochure. We did a kind of last minute, let's go up there and do a show at the fringe because we believe in free thinking comedy, free speech, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And we thought it would be good to have Graham Linehan because he's a brilliant comedic writer, one of the best in the country. You know, we announced him initially as being a cancelled comedian, a fun, secret thing, because we knew it would sell out anyway.
Yeah.
And then we announced it yesterday, 24 hours later, the whole thing is cancelled.
So you're not willing to take any responsibility for, like, springing it on these people?
Well, it was a fun thing. We were saying we had this cancelled comedian.
Not for them, Andrew.
No, but I
it was
thought,
triggering.
I thought that a few days before the show,
you
it would be
get
too
it
late
through.
to cancel.
Exactly, too late. But they proved you wrong.
Well, it's only a few activists, Francis, contacting the venue, and then it's...
We don't know about that. The venue was against it, so they obviously felt it was important to them.
Look, this is not the first time this has happened. We saw last year with the case of Jerry Sadowitz, who is arguably one of the greatest ever stand-up comedians that this country has ever produced.
Yeah.
His show was cancelled because some people got offended. And what this shows, at its core, is the comedy industry in this country is completely finished.
Yeah.
It's done. It's broken. There is no way that you can do interesting comedy. There is no way that you can push boundaries. There is no way that you can be truly transgressive, because if you are, you will lose your venue, you will lose your right to perform, and your own colleagues within the industry will come out in an attempt to destroy your career. The thing is finished.
We've actually seen this tonight. There have been some comedians that I know have come out and they love the fact that our show's been cancelled.
Yes, and I will say this to them. If you are one of those comedians who celebrates at the fact that your colleague or a gig has been cancelled, just know that you are a moron and you have the IQ of a fungal infection. You're useless. You may think that's harsh, and you're right, because fungal infections have some type of use in this world. Francis, you are pointless.
The more sort of generous thing to say would be, well, look, you know, you can't be sure you're always going to be on the right side of popular opinion.
No,
at some point they'll come for you because you know, Graham Linehan, who, you know, he's a brilliant comedy writer. He's been accused of transphobia and hate, neither of which is true. By the way, he's for women's rights and gay rights, and that's what he's been campaigning for. And they're really angry about that, and they won't let him perform. I think the idea that one of our top comedy minds shouldn't perform on the Edinburgh Fringe because a few activists are upset is insane. And no one would have thought this could happen 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Are you going to get a new venue for Comedy Unleashed in Edinburgh?
We're going to try and get a new venue.
OK.
Are you going to book me, then? That's the most important bit, mate. This is what the people want.
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe?